I'm Crystal Smith, the author of The Power of Perseverance, A Sisterhood Journey, and you're listening to Moments of Grace with Dr. Butler.
This is your host, Dr. Ray Jerome Butler, and welcome to A Moment of Grace. I hope and pray that you are doing well today. I'm excited about my guest today. I'm always excited about our guest. I'm so excited about my guest today because what the topic we're going to be talking about, we've had health gurus on before, and we've had, fitness people and things of that nature on before, but this young lady is near and dear to my heart. I think I shared with you all some time ago. My father died of prostate cancer here in 2017. And while I was in the hospital room with him, I never told him and then shared my mother. At the same time, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer that March before he died. And a month later, I had the surgery myself. I read something that made such an impact on me while I was going through that ordeal. Here, my father is dying of cancer, and I have the same cancer that he had. I read something from an author, and I don't even remember the author, while I was in the room with him while he was dying. And it said, sometime God needs to show the stuff that he is bigger than the power the stuff thinks it has. Yeah. And so my guest today understands that oh too well, the power that God has of healing and bringing us through, and also this journey of good health. And so I want to welcome from the UK, Naomi Watson. Welcome, Naomi.
Thank you. Yes, well, thank you.
So happy to have you here with us. Would you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes, my name is Naomi Watson. I originally come from India, but I've been in the UK for, I'm not telling my age.
I got you.
But I actually trained as a management accountant, but my passion was in health and nutrition. So I used to, give talks and seminars, but it's quite different. When you talk about it, then actually when you start practicing it and then noticing, what a difference it makes when you prove God. Yes. I have two boys. Okay. One is 30 and one is 32. And unfortunately, my husband, who was a minister of religion for 30 years, passed away a couple of years ago.
Sorry to hear that. But this journey of health that you're on was not natural. If I understand, the job field that you came out of. What got you on this journey in such a, because you're fired up about it. I love your energy. I love your spirit about it. You're really fired up about health and nutrition. So did this manifest because of the cancer, or where did that come from? Or from your husband passing, or what did that come from?
Well, it's interesting because my interest was always there, okay, but I didn't realize that after I was diagnosed with breast cancer, mm-hmm, I couldn't understand why, where did I go wrong, as it were. Right. And I started, researching more, and especially when I didn't think I was ill. I didn't feel ill. I was not in pain. Right. And then they say, you've got cancer. Well, that comes as a bit of a shock to you.
Right. Exactly.
And so my journey took me, in fact, before I was diagnosed, it was a year before that, I had read some research about chemotherapy and, what it does. And although it does a whole lot of things, but then there's also the other thing is that it does harm your body as well. Mm-hmm. But then when you're sitting in front of the consultant and he says, you're going to have chemotherapy and radiotherapy and a mastectomy, that comes with, and it's quite a different matter.
Right.
Because when you do research, you think, oh, I'm never going to have that. It's not going to happen.
And that's what I thought. You're right.
Yes. Yes. And so that journey drove me to understand more why. And if you think about the increase in cancer these days compared to even 20 years ago, you wouldn't be talking to, people say, oh, somebody
Exactly.
may have had.
Yeah.
Not now.
Exactly.
It's, within the family.
Right.
And it's a shock. It's a shock to the system. So I wanted to find out. And so mentally, I kept saying, no, I'm not going to have any of this. And me and my husband fell out over it. And, my sons fell out because all of them thought that I wasn't, well, even my consultant, he said, well, I'm in denial. That's the classic word.
Right.
I wasn't in denial. All I was saying is, isn't there another way?
Right. Right.
And so, my biggest challenge was to fight the system, because once they,
right, they
say
blocked
you've
in.
got this, then they, okay. But nowhere was I given the opportunity to ask questions.
Right. Right.
And then when I did ask questions, no, don't worry about it. You're going to have chemotherapy and you'll be fine. And so in my research, I realized, what is this natural way? It's easy to say, oh, I'm going natural, but what is natural was my question. Right. And I think that's when I started really learning how is the body fed? How is the body watered? Are we doing the right things? Are we taught the right things? Right. Do we do that? Are we fair with our kids because of the lifestyle that we're leading? And that was this journey that I took.
Gotcha. Well, Naomi, you, like I said at the beginning of our monologue, you're near and dear to my heart because I've lost 45 pounds in the last 3 or 4 months. My A1C, which was at 9, is down to 5 and change now. High blood pressure has gone down, and all of these things. And what sparked me wasn't the cancer. It was that the doctor wanted to put me on insulin, and I don't like needles.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yes.
But so I started to see what were other things that I could look at from and we have to just admit, and I think this is the one thing that we all miss with our society. It's in what we consume. Everything is in what we consume. If it's in the food, then it's in us. Processed foods, we were, at least myself, love cereal. So just finding out, the cornflakes and all is pre-digested food. This is not good. You have 16 feet of intestines for a reason.
That's right.
And when something's pre-digestive that just runs through me, it's just not good. So we're trying our best to go as natural as we can. And like I said, losing the weight, the benefits of the sugar going down and all of this, and everybody's looking and saying, what are you doing? And then the other piece is, as a Christian, as a believer, I'm always used fasting from a spiritual standpoint. I never thought about fasting from a health standpoint.
That's right.
And right now I'm fasting from a health standpoint, a water fast and all of that. But I'm interviewing you, so you just got me excited. I'm sorry, Naomi. So go ahead.
No, but I am so excited that you're doing that. I noticed, just like what you said, I noticed my bin. I thought I was good. What I ate was good. And but when my bins changed, my bins from all packages and tins and all that to my bins, which could then go out into, back to nature, as it were.
Right.
And I thought I was eating healthily.
Exactly.
And then when you start noticing, the labels, which you didn't know before, you did it by taste.
Exactly.
And what is interesting is, God's nature doesn't need labels.
Come on now.
Your apples and your fruit and your vegetables and your greens, God made them because He wants us to have abundant life. And He says, look, when it's gone off.
That's right.
So don't
Exactly.
eat it. But if it's fresh out of the garden, okay, there are things, some things we can't control,
Right.
like
Right.
your spray, the spraying,
Mm-hmm.
what they're putting into the ground.
Right.
But God knows that as well,
Exactly.
that we are doing the best we can in this sinful world.
Right.
And there is plenty that we can enjoy. I mean, I keep it because as I went on, I realized, okay, adults sometimes find it difficult to change, but the children, if we don't change their habits, what are they going to be like?
Exactly. Well,
So,
think about juvenile diabetes. We never heard about that before when I was coming up, and obesity in children and all of this.
Yes.
And it's so funny. I was talking with my wife yesterday. In fact, she just thought she just kind of gave me that look like, this man has absolutely lost his mind with this. I had and I don't stray from, I still do indulge, I'd still do indulge, but I do it moderately. And we got some cupcakes from the church for breast cancer awareness month. And so I had a cupcake, and I hadn't drunk milk in months. I hadn't drunk any milk in months. And I had a swig of milk, a cup of milk, and I could feel the inflammation. And she looked at me like it was just like I had lost my mind. I said, I could feel that. I could feel the inflammation from the milk going through my system, that something was entering my body now that was so foreign to it, that was so unnatural, that it just, I don't know if I'll ever drink any milk again, to be honest with you.
You're right. And what is interesting is, a little while ago, when you drank milk on a regular basis, you didn't even recognize that.
Never recognize it. Never recognize it. Go ahead, Naomi.
No, I was just reminded because of what you just said. A father of a 4-year-old rang me once, and he had been given my number because I've gone through cancer, and the child had cancer. The child had been in hospital for 6 months because had chemotherapy. And then, of course, the immune system was really low. And so they kept him in hospital, the child in hospital. Anyway, he rang me, and I was actually on my way to the airport because I was flying somewhere. And I listened to his story, and then I asked him, okay, what's the child diet like?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, normal. So I said, okay, let's break it down a bit.
What is normal, right? What's normal these days, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And then he paused and he says, why are you asking me these questions? He says, they've been in hospital, all this time. Nobody asked that question. Why not? I mean, the hospital was feeding the child because she was asking for burgers and fish fingers and whatever. That's what they were feeding her. And so by the end of the day, her day's food, there was no color on the plate.
Right.
There was no fruits, no vegetables. And I had to control myself and say, are you surprised?
Right.
I can't say that.
Right.
Because I know there's the internet, that I know there's all this, but where are we taught that our plate should be colorful?
It should be colorful, right? The greens, the reds, and all of that.
Yeah. Don't count your calories. Don't count, do you have vitamin A, B, and C? We don't know that.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
But we do know colors.
That's right. And if you have colors, then the calories really don't matter because the colors are natural.
Exactly.
Then the colors are natural. What I'd like to do, Naomi, is to take a small break.
Yes.
And then when we come back, I want us to continue our conversation. I love this. This is good. This is good stuff right here. to cancer, what'd you say? Victory. People that have cancer, victory, not cancer survivors, but victory in Jesus. So when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation. Okay.
Lovely.
Wonderful. This is Dr. Butler, and we're talking with Naomi Watson. And as you can hear, she is just so excited to share this with you all. And I'm excited as well, guys, because, in what we eat, whatever you eat is in you. And whether you are consuming something, keep in mind now, if you're consuming hormones that are in the cow, those hormones end up in you. If you're consuming stuff that's unnatural, those unnatural things in you. So we'll come back. We're going to continue our conversation with Naomi Watson. We'll be right back after these messages.
Thank you.
Hello, this is Bishop Ndini Yabarbara, the Transitional Director for the Grace Project. I'm a part of the Board of Directors, and we have a message for you. Did you know that there are 250,000 families that are homeless in America? And the Grace Project is the solution. We refurbish homes and we build homes for families that are homeless. You can give financial donations and contact us through www.graceproject.info. We are a 501c3, so your donations are tax deductible. Again, you can contact us through www.graceproject.info. We are tax deductible. We are 501c3. Thank you in advance for your donations to the Grace Project.
So as you can hear, guys, at our ads, the Grace Project, where we are building and refurbishing homes for the homeless and for our veterans. We want you guys to continue, if you subscribe, whether at the 99-cent level or the $10 level a month, 100% of what you give subscribing to Moments of Grace goes to the Grace Project. And we're just so excited. We have 5 projects going on here in America. I'm actually talking and negotiating with some people out of Uganda. So we're excited to take this ministry to Uganda. Can you imagine blessing somebody with a house, guys? That's what it's about. He says that he would give you houses that your hands did not build. And so I truly believe that. And because it is truly a blessing to be a blessing. That's why we're blessed to be a blessing. I'm not a millionaire or anything. So everything with these houses are through donations and the love and support that people like yourselves give. So thank you all so much. And thank you in advance if you become a partner here at Moments of Grace. So with that said, we have Naomi Watson here with us, who is fired up about nutrition, health, and kind of changing our mindset and changing our dynamics. Matthews 8:17 says he himself took our weaknesses and our infirmities, and he bore away our diseases. He bore all of that stuff on the cross, guys. So we don't have to be sick. We don't have to have all this stuff going on. And Naomi, one of the things that the medical, and I'm not cutting at the medical profession, right before our break, you were talking about the baby that was in the hospital, and here he is to get well, and what they gave him was processed food.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm in the hospital to get well, so you're giving me medicine. You prescribe medicine that's supposed to help my body, but then the fuel, that's supposed to be the additives. The medicine is the additives, but the fuel that you give my body is contaminated.
Absolutely.
Doesn't make any sense. So it's no way possible, even in a hospital, you could get well if you're still consuming bad fuel.
And yet it's the food that we eat that is going to heal us. Our minds are so wonderfully and beautifully made that if they can heal themselves when given the right environment, when given the right fuel to be able to heal. But if you don't do that, what chance?
That's right. And like I said, that's just mind blowing. I never thought about it till you brought that up. Here is a child in the hospital, and I've been that, I've been in a hospital before, and
Yes.
and I was fed the things that's supposed to be nutrition, the fruit cups with all of the syrup. you know,
Yes.
it's colorful, but all the syrup is not good for you. All of the
Yes.
sugar and I was listening to a doctor, and it made so much sense. And he said, sugar has been introduced into the genome of humans, that we're modified humans at this point, with all the preservatives, with all the sugars and everything that
Yes.
we got. This stuff is just not good for our body. So we've we've become modified humans. And now we're dealing with insulin resistance. That's why we have the bigger bellies and all that, and all these things. And so it's all in what we eat, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And all the major diseases that we face, the cardiac problems, the vitamin type 2 diabetes,
Yes.
the blood pressures, the obesity, they're all lifestyle diseases. That means we have a part to play in it. We have, may not be 100%, but we have at least 70 to 90% difference that we can make in our own lives. But where do we learn to do this?
Right.
Well,
we've started from the onset, the moment and we're adults on this show, the moment we leave our mother's breast.
Yes.
Everything at that point becomes unnatural. That's for most people, that's the last natural nourishment they have.
True.
Yes. And I like what you just said about lifestyle diseases. I like that. I'm going to write that down. So if you listen to my show, you will be hearing that again. I like that, though. I do like that. So Naomi, since it's conditioning, everything in society, I believe, first of all, everything we learn in our life, we learn from a relationship we have with someone. Absolutely. Mother, father, teacher, grandparents, or whatever. So we learn from the people that we respect, sometimes because they don't know any better.
Yes.
But sometimes because it's been passed on to them.
Yes.
How do we change this, Naomi? How do we change? How do you think?
I'll tell you how I changed it,
Okay.
because I struggled with that.
Okay.
Because when I had my cancer, my boys were high school age.
Okay.
And although we were vegetarians, the boys, my husband used to say, they're junky vegetarians.
Okay.
That's not what we want.
Right. Explain that. You said they're junky vegetarians. Explain what they were doing that made your husband say that.
Well, they'll be quite happy to go to McDonald's and have a burger and a smoothie and whatever.
Right.
And a slice of tomato isn't what you're really looking for.
Right. That isn't being a vegetarian.
That's right.
I got you.
Yes.
I got you.
So I think, what I started doing is doing what they liked, but at home in a different way, but making sure that I added lots of fruits and vegetables. So even the veggie burger I made was just vegetables, but made into a burger.
Gotcha.
Forget the bread, because that's got no nutrition in it.
None. Right.
So then, even say lasagna, I used to use courgette slices as, to increase the vegetables. But again, taking the pasta out. I'm not saying take pasta out altogether, but can we make a shift just from white rice to brown rice?
Yes.
Because all we're doing with white rice is polishing all the goodness, and then you're having the rice, which then converts to sugar very quickly.
Exactly.
But I know we don't like it. But we didn't like white rice or brown rice or whatever to start off with. We were introduced to it slowly.
That's right.
So let's make small changes, but they are long-term changes.
Right.
Because we can get all excited and, change a whole lot of things and then say no. And another thing is, it's not only our families have to change, our communities have to change. But the change has to start somewhere.
Right.
Now, for you have started the change, and people are going to watch you.
Right.
And if we can make it as pleasant a change as possible. I didn't want to come back, because I actually went to the States to learn the natural way of dealing with my cancer. But I thought, okay, and I was put on salads for breakfast, salads for lunch, salads for evening meal. Whew, that's too much salad.
It's boring. Plus it's absolutely boring.
Yes. However, my attitude was I had a goal. When I came back to the UK, I didn't want the chemotherapy. That was my goal.
Okay.
So I had to say, okay, let's just try the salad. But I had gone there fully prepared mentally. I'll do anything you say. By the third breakfast, I said to the doctor who was in charge, I said, I can't face this breakfast. It just made me sick.
Right.
So he says, you don't have to have it. But there was no alternative.
Right.
That's what I was going to have.
I'm not going to force you. Right.
Yes. Right. So when you're hungry, when you're ready, you will eat it. Now, what do we do with our children? We give them something, they don't like it because they've used to something else. And then we say, oh, all right, then. We easily give up.
Yes.
But if that child is facing a serious lifestyle disease, would we still say that?
Exactly. And just not to cut you off, Naomi, they are for this one reason, because they are little versions of ourselves.
Yes.
And so if you have daughters and you were eating incorrectly, it's a good possibility because of DNA, your daughters,
of course,
or your husband's sisters or mother. Yeah. You know, if they have heart disease and all these things,
yes,
is that whatever is in me is in my child.
Yes.
So, you know, like I said before, you can't get oranges from an apple tree. So whatever's in the apple tree is in the apple. Yes. And so the markers are there. And you know, so if it's bad vision that you have, it's a good possibility your children have. So we have to start them young. So I was just saying that I wanted to be in agreement with you. We really have to start, you know, and it's been difficult for us. When I found out, and I'm saying this, guys, because I want you guys to understand this. One of the worst things that you can get from McDonald's is chicken nuggets. It is a slurry of just garbage. I'm just being honest with you. I saw how they make this stuff, and it's like in a big vat of just meat and other additives and everything else. It is the worst thing in the world. And then they mold it and then fry it and have all these preservatives in it. And my daughter, McDonald's fries and the nuggets she loves. Yes. It's the worst thing in the world. And if we love our kids, we shouldn't be doing that to them.
No.
And I'm guilty. I'm guilty. And you, like you said, your sons were, you know, but like I said, we've allowed her to do this for so long that now when we talk about green beans and vegetables and grains, it's
foreign.
Of course, you know, it's you know, but
yes.
But you know, my wife is trying to, and again, it's all about process.
Yes.
Slowly but surely, you got to drink more water. Oh, I don't want to drink water. Well, if you and it's almost negotiating. I hate to say it, guys, and I know we're parents and we're supposed to be stern and everything, but we've put our children in this position, and so we can't just lay the hammer down because it's going to feel like punishment instead of a pleasure, because they don't see that we're trying to save them.
Correct. I say, don't kill each other with kindness. Because, I mean, if we have guests, you wouldn't be offering them water, you'll be offering them juice.
Of course. Yes. Yes.
Why, of course?
Right.
We could change that. But with that child, you know, what I had to learn to do is to change whatever they liked into things that, you know, so to increase their fruits, for example.
Right.
With this child I was talking to you about who had cancer.
Yes.
I met up with the parents and I took, because the child had never had any fruit, I had chopped fruit, I had fruit salad, small amounts. I have a dehydrator. So I made apple crisps. I made some sorbet, you know, with different kinds of fruits. So I had a variety of things. And then I took that and I introduced it to the child. She liked some things, which was fine. She didn't like some things, which was fine too.
Exactly.
But that was the choice. And she was quite interested in some of the things which she hadn't heard before or seen before or tasted before. Now, I let the child go to play and I was talking to the parents and the father was very appreciative. And they said, okay, they will move to a organic burger.
Okay.
that wasn't the point. The
Right,
point was I
right.
wanted more
Mhm.
fruits and vegetables in the child.
Right. The whole lifestyle needs to change.
Yes.
Right, right.
You know, the mother turns around to me and says, well, if you think I'm going to be having that food, you have something else coming. I said, hold it. You trying to
Came
tell
to
me
me. Right.
on the same table, the child is going to have something different and you're going to have something
Right.
different?
Right.
So we have to change if
You're
we
right.
want our change in the children.
Naomi, you just slapped my hand. Thank you. Because my doctor, when I told my doctor what I was doing, the changes that I was making, and they said, well, you know, this is going to be great for you and your family. I said, oh no, I'm not forcing my wife and my daughter to do this. I said, this is my journey to be healthier because I want to walk her down the aisle one day. And, you know, I kind of struggle with that because I don't want, and again, thank you for slapping my hand, because it should be a journey for all of us to make.
Yes.
It should be a journey for all of us to make, to live healthier and
Yes.
be healthier. And I have the information, and you know, it's just like anything else. You can share the information with people. You can't
Yes.
force the information to take effect.
Yes.
You know, you can't force it to take effect.
No.
I'll have a little bit more, say on my daughter's behalf than I will my wife's. But my wife she's in total agreement with me of
Yes.
being healthy. It's just getting started. And that's the
And
big
how?
thing. Yeah, exactly.
It's the how that we don't know. In theory, we agree. Drinking more water, yes, we agree. But it's difficult. So for drinking water, how about having some water with sliced oranges, sliced lemons, putting some mint in the water, making it fun, or having aerated water, but putting these things so it becomes an enjoyable drink,
right.
as opposed to water,
right.
Or juicing, as in having fresh juices,
Yes.
more expensive, true. But how about having fresh juices with some ice? I don't know where you live. So is it warm or not? Putting some ice cubes or making some ice cubes with these juices, freshly made juices, and putting in the freezer. So when they fancy something different, you got something.
Got you.
So it's making those small changes, but getting the fruits and vegetables into them.
Oh, you're right. Because she drinks a lot of, she does the popsicles, and it's nothing but sugar water. That's nothing but sugar water. So you've given me a great idea of transforming juice into that. You know, you could do the exact same thing. So you're exactly right, Naomi.
Yeah. And then I didn't want it to be, I can't have this and I can't have the other and I can't. The can't have to go.
Right.
But we can replace as what can we do?
There you go. Okay.
And so, even the smoothies, you can make the smoothies and make popsicles with them. So you've got a variety. I mean, I love the one with mango and pineapple or mango and coconut. It's absolutely delicious. And when you start getting used to those nice creams, rather than as opposed to
ice cream, right,
you can actually taste what we are buying is almost chemically.
Yes. That was my point with the milk.
Yes,
you're right.
Yes.
You're right. Yeah, I know. We had she had bought some Cheetos, and Cheetos, of course, is not, Frito-Lay is not paying me to say that. I'm just telling you what we had. She had brought some Cheetos, and I said, these are just too salty. She said, well, they're about the same, but I haven't eaten them. I don't eat them any longer. And when you are trying to remodify, because this what we're trying to do, we're trying to remodify our bodies back to what they're supposed to be.
Yes.
Then your taste is totally different.
Yes.
You are exactly right. Your taste is totally different. So, Naomi, our time is running close here. Give the audience, from your perspective, 3 things to help them to live a better life, with their diet, and if you could.
Simple things. Whenever you've got a question, the way I dealt with my changing of habits was, is this what I'm going to eat going to feed my good cells or my bad cells? With cancer in mind, you're feeding either your good cells or your bad cells.
You're right.
What is it that I want? That is a conscious decision. So basically being mindful of what you're eating. I know you enjoy that, but is that the best for me?
Right.
And then colorful plate. You know,
Mhm.
you've got such a variety. If you don't have a colorful plate, start small.
Right.
Start with one color, and then make sure every day you're having another color.
Mhm.
And by, in a couple of weeks, make sure that your plate is colorful,
Right. Right.
because these are practical things, that we can have.
Right.
And then the next step would be color in the morning, color in the afternoon, color in the evening.
Gotcha.
We could start small, but we want to make sure that we've got all those colors there. And then drinking water. It's the simplest way to flush your system.
Yes.
It's so easy. Well, it's simple. If you're used to a lot of tea and coffee, then I have a suggestion. Make sure when you put your kettle on for your tea or coffee, drink that same cup of water first, and then go for your tea and coffee. So you've got water. However, what happens is when you start and drink with water, your body is satisfied because you're thirsty. That's why you've gone for your treat.
Exactly.
And when you've satisfied that, your body says, well, actually, I'm not sure I want that anymore.
Right. Exactly.
But that's what you want your body to say.
Right. Right.
So if you're feeding the body and giving the body the right nutrients, and your body will start healing without even you realizing it. And the third thing, I would say, move.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Whatever you do, move.
Yes. Exactly.
You don't have to go to the gym to have exercise.
Right.
But if you can move, you enjoy dancing, dance. If you're used to sitting in front of the TV, adverts come on, get up and move with that.
Yeah.
Just move, because that is the first step to starting making the difference in thing. And a very simple, what we've already talked about, is keeping close to nature.
Amen.
Whether you're keeping close to nature as far as food is concerned, you're keeping close to nature as far as your exercise is concerned, because keeping close to nature actually rejuvenates you.
It does.
If you can do that every day, it's cool. It feels good to the eye because you're seeing all the colors. You're appreciating them. You're actually beginning to appreciate what God has given us, the good things in life. Lots of bad things happen, true, but there is still a lot of good.
That's right.
And if we can start appreciating it, our hearts actually become thankful, and gratitude just flows through. And that itself, helps our bodies recover more. We become more aware of the surroundings. We become more aware of what we're doing. And, your children, you mentioned your little daughter. My attitude is, if you want to look good and feel great, then you need to have these. If you don't want to look good, and that is important. We all want to look good.
Exactly.
And it's not the what you want to put on your face.
Right.
But let that beauty just shine through you. And that's good.
Amen.
That'll help with our mental illness. That'll help with our physical illness.
Sure
that'll
does.
help with our spiritual illness. It's a win-win. You can't go wrong.
Now, like I said, Naomi, and I agree 100% with everything that you said. How do you, what is your take on, because like I said, the eating one time, because I know you mentioned 3 meals a day. I only do 1 meal. So I do intermittent fasting.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I just do the intermittent fast. Where do you stand with that?
I do 2 twice a day.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine.
I'll have a late breakfast and an early thing, but I keep maybe 5 hours between the 2.
Yeah.
And then
and that's what they say. Yeah, a 6-hour window. Yeah, between the 2. Yeah. The other part of that is we've become so conditioned to eat, breakfast, lunch, dinner, supper, snacks. We've been so conditioned to snacking and eating, and the amazing thing to me, like I said, as I've been on this journey, is that nobody is giving you the benefits of not eating. Why is that? Because if you're not eating, that means somebody's not selling you something.
That's right. That's right.
So the doctors are not telling you not to eat. Of course, the people who are making hamburgers and French fries and all this other stuff isn't telling you not to eat. And so, like I said, from a spiritual standpoint, I only fasted from a spiritual standpoint, and didn't understand the benefits. And I thank God I've had an opportunity to understand the benefits. Now, let Naomi and I say this, and I'm saying this for both of us, Naomi, check with your physician, guys,
Of
before
course. Yes.
before you cut off your medicine, before you do any
Yes.
of that.
Yes.
And the other side of it is pray. You've got to have prayer in your life. You got to have a spiritual life as well as this. It's got to be holistic. The word is Gestalt in German. You got to have a Gestalt, that holistic lifestyle of your spirituality, your mental, as well as your physical.
Yes. Can I just say one
Yes,
thing?
ma'am. Sure.
It's when on your own, all these things are very difficult. They're simple, but they're not easy. But with God's help, He gives you the thing to do.
That's right.
But it's a circle, and I call it start anew. Okay, start anew is a mnemonic: sunshine, temperance, air, rest, trust in God, attitude, nutrition, exercise, and water. All of these elements are needed for a healthy, holistic lifestyle. And they're all connected. If you don't sleep well, you'll feel horrible the next day. And it's so easy then to eat rubbish because you're tired. But if you sleep well, you eat well, you drink well. And when you eat well and drink well, you sleep well and you exercise. So they're so related. But we need all of those for a good, healthy, holistic lifestyle.
And you mentioned air too, guys. I want to encourage you, at least 3 or 4 times a day, I will just sit down for about 5 or 10 minutes and just breathe in and breathe out, because we're always so rushed. We never think about breathing and the organs that are connected, because your breathing moves everything in your body.
Absolutely.
Your lungs is moving everything in your body. So you have to feel it's holistic. It's holistic. You can't just get 100%. It's like you said, you can't get 100% of your nutrition from food. It has to be through your rest. This is nutrition in your rest, your air, getting out in the sun, all of it.
Yeah, very true.
Amen. True. Well, Naomi, thank you so much for being here with us. I thoroughly enjoyed this. We've gone way over time.
Oh, sorry.
But it is it's nothing you did. I'm running my mouth, but it's been so good. And I understand next year or two, you have a book that you're working on called Amazing Health. So how's that going?
Well, I've just come to the final thing. It's the final review. Well, what do you call it? Editing to be done, and then it should be
wonderful. Well, we look forward to seeing it here in 2023. And Naomi, again, thank you so much. And I got to get you back.
Oh, thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. And we've been talking with Naomi Watson over in the UK, guys. Listen. Your body is going to be with you guess what, for the rest of your life. And so with that said, you've got to take care of it. You've got to do your best. Don't let it happen like it happened with me. Don't get yourself to the point that you have cancer and then you say, well, I've got to do better, or somebody threatens that you're going to have to poke yourself with a needle every day before you start to eat healthy. You want to do it now. And there's nothing wrong with eating better, living better. And believe it or not, when people tell you that you'll spend more money at Whole Foods and all that, think about how much money you spend being sick. So you would rather take the investment now rather than have to pay later. And with that said, thank you again, Naomi, for being here with us on Moments of Grace. And audience, thank you all for being here with us. And we'll see you next time. And remember to love God, love life. Keep the light on. We'll see you next time on Moments of Grace. Take care.